It's jingle bells and season's greetings to everyone, boys and girls of whatever age, from all of us at the telephone company.
I went to the pound shop today, and I bought some tinsel. I also bought this. We had Christmas tree. It's hollow, but don't put it in your mouth. You don't know where it's been. It's been in the pound shop.
It's been in my mouth.
That's been in your mouth. So it's episode 2. It's the second night of the Christmasing. I've got a little bit of alcohol here because it's night, and
I've got a little bit of poisoning apparently.
Don't stay. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Hey! Look! 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 I'm Davis Arini. No, I'll drink it for real. No, but that's nice. It was on offer at Tesco. It's some kind of Scottish whiskey because they had Jack Daniels, but it was 70 cl. That stands for something cubic liters or something like that. Or like parts of centiliters. Or anyway, that had that for £15, but they had a whole liter of this kind of whiskey, which was Scottish, for £15, and I was like, that's a better deal. So we watched The Spirit of Christmas, a Philadelphia classic.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Bell Telephone and the Mabel Beaton Marionettes.
A bunch of Philadelphian telephone people decided to do some really terrifying marionette-based versions of Christmas.
Apparently the Mabel Beaton Marionettes are quite famous. This is from the 50s, so it is. And I remember...
Why does Mabel beat the marionettes to make them work?
Beaton is her last name. But, no, I remember my mom, like, when I was little, like, oh my gosh, you guys, we have to watch The Spirit of Christmas with the Mabel Beaton Marionettes. I watched this when I was young. And she did. And so we watched it, like, because it would air on WHYY in Philadelphia. And I was like, it's kind of creepy, Mom. Marionettes are scary. Uncanny Valley, just saying. But
so
no,
nowhere near as scary as Terrahawks.
It's put on by Bell Telephone. And it is so 1950s, though, because there's a guy making, you know, Christmas is a time when your telephone company does good works for children. Here we are, typing out Braille books for children. Your telephone company. There you go. So it's kind of, The Spirit of Christmas is 2 parts. It begins with 'Twas the Night Before Christmas with your man Samuel.
Really funny.
I can't remember his name, but the guy that wrote
Samuel Goldwyn.
Goldwyn. No, it's not. It's Clement something or other.
Samuel Clemens.
No, that's Mark Twain. It's Clement something. Google it.
Clement Attlee.
You know who we're talking about. No, he was a prime minister. It's some guy. But then she's like, oh, here we are in 1822.
Like, liar!
With, like, you know, books that are clearly from, like, you know, at least the 1910s. He's got a desk light, like, or a desk light thing, like a lantern that's obviously, at best, late Victorian, at worst, early electric. And he's got Victorian mutton chops. I mean, he's wearing a Regency coat.
1860s mutton chops.
Yeah, like, it's terrible. And he's like, oh, I wish I could meet St. Nicholas. And she's like, la la la. And then that inspires him to write 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. And then they're human, by the way, and the marionettes are acting it out. And in a way that can only be described as, like, coked up frenzy.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. In fact, I really want to review this.
She's like, don't throw this away. I want to review it. I was
possibly,
like, a digital copy.
possibly just the St. Nicholas stuff, because it's by itself, it's a masterpiece. I mean, Santa Claus's way of flying, you know, gracefully flying in with this thing. Like, it's like
she was making that noise the whole time.
And everyone's walking. It was like Fred Astaire trying to do breakdancing.
It was really, really funny.
And yet all of the fucking marionettes looked terrified or catatonic or both.
And the mom was like, I've swallowed all the Valium, children.
Yeah.
It's the 50s. It is.
The children, when they were sleeping, they looked dead.
They did. They're like, oh god, they've died of the cholera in the night.
And then you got these 2 cats who are like, you know, watching everything happen. But every time you cut to the cats, it's like the shot in Butch Jamie, where the cat's like looking at Butch Jamie, going like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" It's the only time you'll ever see a cat giving a "what the fuck" face. And this one has marionette cats doing that. They're just looking up, going like, "What the fuck is on here?"
And then there's like this trippy dream sequence set to Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy from the Nutcracker.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's the thing though. What is a sugar plum?
It's a kind of fungus.
No, it's not.
It's nearly a fungus.
No, it's not. She's referencing a joke that was funny one time, like back in the day.
It's an in-joke between us two.
I can tell them, though.
Can if you want.
Yeah. We were talking over Skype, voice. This was back in the day. And you had been in London or something?
I'd been somewhere far away. I'd come in and I hadn't slept in
I think you were
a day or two a night.
And then I was talking about tofu, and she said, "Oh, honey, don't eat that. Why? It's nearly a fungus." I was like, "No, it's not. It's soybean paste. It's made from soybeans. And I had to Google it because I wasn't sure what tofu was for a second, and then it turns out you were talking about this meat substitute they have called in this country called corn, Quorn, which actually is made from like some kind of spore, like some kind of nearly fungus, and actually some people like will have corn and not realize that they are unfortunately allergic to it and spend basically 3 days puking out of every single orifice.
Plus, corn is terrible.
Yeah, just don't eat. I mean, if you're a vegetarian, don't eat it unless you know that you're not allergic to it.
Plus, if you're
eat tofu instead.
If you're a vegetarian, okay. Quite often I'll eat the vegetarian things and things. A lot of people in my life have thought I'm a vegetarian because I quite often just eat vegetarian versions. But I never touch corn because if you want meat, eat fucking meat. If you don't want meat, don't eat meat. A meat substitute's just like, what's the fucking point?
Well, but the thing about tofu is that it's like, I mean, been used like in the East for centuries, and it is a pretty, like, soybeans and soya products have a lot of protein in them, so I can totally
I'm fine with people that. It's just
actually tofu can be pretty good depending on how you cook it. So.
The very concept of meat substitute, things that are meant to be a substitute for meat, that can trick you into thinking it's meat, whatever.
Okay.
That bothers me. It's like
I'm with you on that, but I support using other like I don't like veggie burgers. Like, my sister was a vegetarian for a wee bit, and they smell like burning flesh when you fry them. Really, they do. And the reason I know this is not a creepy thing was because that was the year that my parents bought me a wood burning pen for Christmas, so I could make all these crafts. But then when you slip and you burn yourself, that's what that smells like. But I am a fan of things like, I have a recipe for black bean burgers that involve like minced peppers and minced onions, and it's really, and actually you even said that they were good.
Yeah.
Like, you would never confuse the fact that, oh, this is oh god, the autofocus. Don't worry, okay, we're back. Like, you would never think to yourself, obviously this is a meat patty. No, obviously it's made of vegetables. But...
So, sorry about the autofocus. Basically, because the where the lights are and
we're gonna get a new light.
Hopefully.
We'll ask Santa Claus to bring us a floor. They have them at Argos for like 20 or 30 pounds. I'll show you.
Okay.
But that, anyway, the spirit of Christmas has nothing to do with our floor light. But
I'm thinking summer-ish, because it looks like I might be at BroCon, so I might be doing a live episode there, like The Passion and like Sunset Heights. So if I do that, and then I do the same, then I could also do the Spirit of Christmas, because it's only like 7 or 8 minutes. Do that as a Hagan thing, so then people will get 2 Hagans in 1 month. Because this thing, it's
really funny. It's unintentionally hilarious. It's like, I'm sure it was like quite magical in the early 50s when you were watching it on the big TV in the cabinet for the first time, but it's pretty damn creepy and hilarious now.
So it'll be like another chirpy type review.
'Twas the Night Before Christmas is not the best poem. Like, we're not exactly talking like Robert Frost.
It's a crap poem.
Poet laureate here.
It's just people think it's good because it's famous, but rhyming the first couple of lines, rhyming house and mouse.
Isn't it that
fucking 5-year-old wouldn't do that?
For some reason, I think that he was a clerk or something. I don't think that he was an actual poet. So you know how, like, the friends that you have that have never done poetry before have, like, this amazing stroke of genius and then write a poem and they're convinced it's the best thing ever? You're like, okay, it's a pretty good poem, but settle down there. You're not exactly,
It reminds me of whenever I was, like, 8 and I decided to write a poem where I rhymed train and lane.
There you go.
And then my mother pointed out that trains tend not to go on lanes, so my line didn't make sense.
Oh.
I was like, oh, and then I gave up.
Like, I had 2 friends in uni who one night, completely plastered, wrote like a really, really, really dirty version of Jingle Bells about people that we knew. And then, like, that was, and they both said that this is probably the highlight of their artistic, I wrote a poem once. Oh, it was pretty good, actually. It won me a wee contest. That's cool. I got some money out of it. I think it was called Medieval Book Rediscovered. I don't remember how most of it goes, but I remember it began, Page so calloused, wistful, worn, from the bowels of history torn, time and errant pageantry, how jaundiced that old tome must be. Fucking poetry! Basically, it's like, oh, I found an old page from a book and it's yellow.
Omega is much smarter than me. You guys, you should
I
watch
wrote
her
another
stuff.
poem one time that I actually thought it was pretty good, but it was like that kind of like despair poetry that you always write in high school, and you think that you're ever so edgy. And you have to remember that when I was in high school, Buffy the Vampire Slayer was on. Like, vampires were hot for the first time. You know, it was like, it was Charmed. It was the neo-pagan boom and stuff like that.
Pretty sure vampires were hot for the first time, like in the 1800s.
No, I mean like in the first time in our lifetimes. This was like the first vampire boom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's what
First modern vampire boom.
Yeah. Oh, I remember too. Howl up, thou primal thing, and this baying down the moon shall bring to ravenous mole the black heart of sin, and dig out foul truth that festers within.
See, that's a better poem than the one.
Take that's a hot topic. Put that in a t-shirt. So anyway, Christmas.
It's better than the night before Christmas.
Mm.
And you wrote a poem for me in one of my episodes as well. The parodying
Did
of.
I?
Yeah, I used shots of Twilight. It was in one of 20 Who reviews.
Oh right. No. Yeah, I wrote a really bad guy. Oh, I actually won an award for a poem that I wrote on purpose to be terrible in high school. Because my teacher wanted to shout out about how, this was back in the day, you used to get a random letter from a company that said, poetry that you've written has been submitted to us. If when we've chosen you to be a part of this anthology of the year's best poets, so please write a poem and submit it to us. And and basically what it was you get printed in this book that you had to pay $75 for back in like 1991.
Oh, that's shit.
Yeah, it's a scam. But so she had her class write the worst poems that we could think of, and then she had the whole entire English department come in and then listen to them as we like presented them as though we were like really seriously excited about them, to watch all the teachers be like. And mine was called Beetle-deoxynogerimycin Sunset, and Beetle-deoxynogerimycin is it's the longest word that I could find without significant Googling. Well, this is before Google, but significant internet searching, and it's a kind of antibiotic. But anyway, Christmas. So the second part of the spirit of Christmas
was much less
is
entertaining.
The nativity scene.
I mean, if I was going to...
Well, the nativity story, really.
If I'm going to do the review, I could do the second part as well, but honestly, it's very boring.
They kept having to stop it and debate biblical scripture.
Yeah, basically, I spent the whole time complaining about the fact that Jesus, the story of Jesus' birth in the Bible is clearly... made up after the fact.
And the Virgin
Clearly.
Mary, like, her face was too long. She looked like
Sarah Jessica Parker.
She did, but then like you remember that the Virgin Mary is supposed to be like 13. It's kind of disturbing, actually. Like yeah. Joseph looked Semitic, and she did not. She looked like Madonna, not the Madonna, like Madonna.
Cross to the Easter Island statue.
And you said that the whole thing about virgins.
That at the time, virgin did not mean that a young woman who had not had sex, or a young person who had not had sex, or a person who had not had sex. It meant a young woman of marriageable age.
I didn't know that.
So the Virgin Mary story was a lot less miraculous in its original incarnation.
Makes you wonder about the olive oil, though. Like extra virgin olive oil. 100%. No one has had their dick in this. Ding.
Well, you would pay more for that, wouldn't you?
No, I wouldn't. I don't want to use cooking oil that someone's had their dick in.
You pay more for one that's not had a dick in.
Oh, yeah, that's true. If you put your dick in olive oil, write the show.
Popeye puts his dick in olive
oil. Oh, Christmas. But no, so it's basically a very generic nativity story. And it's weird because like a beggar tells him, oh no, there's like this stable you can go sleep in, not the innkeeper.
Yeah, there's like... The innkeeper's like, no, fuck off, there's no more room. And then this beggar who's been trying to sleep while Joseph's been banging the door beside his head. This beggar, which looks like Jesus and Jesus of Nazareth from,
But he's like huddled up like Benedict Cumberbatch being like, let me into Camartage.
And then the guy's like, yo, there's a stable over there, you could stay there. So I can only assume that the stable was so shit that this beggar, who was sleeping on the street, would rather sleep on the street than in the stable.
Aye. Or maybe he was mentally ill. Like, because a lot of homeless people actually do suffer with mental illness. That's a true fact. So remember that this Christmas. But yeah, so that was the spirit of Christmas. I didn't think that it would change your heart about the holiday the way that I hoped, the Charlie Brown Christmas might.
This was much more entertaining, at least in the first half.
It was really funny.
Santa Claus. The close-ups of Santa Claus, doing all like his on his sleigh. It looked like he was doing some sort of crazy racist rant.
What? Let me tell you about the Jews. I'm alt-right Santa Claus. That should be a meme this year. Somebody get on this and meme that alt-right Santa Claus. Jesus Christ. I mean, literally. And it was really weird because, like, the marionette did not look pregnant, like, at all.
And then whenever she's about to give birth, she's, like, lays it in the straw.
And, like, Joseph covers her with a blanket and, like, a light shines on her. And, like, it's made clear that while Joseph is sleeping, she delivers Jesus.
I think the blanket was put there, just to catch Jesus, like, in a net. Like,
he's get away! Get him! But, like, I mean... Yeah, I find it hard to imagine that she went through labor and Joseph slept through it.
If Joseph didn't go to sleep, then he might have caught Jesus and then tried to do a touchdown, and then that would have.
It's not like Jesus only comes when you sleep. It's not like you better go to sleep so Jesus will be born. It's like not like a labor's gonna happen.
If Jesus pops out and flies here, then Joseph might catch it and then turn into a touchdown, and then
No, but he wasn't American though.
I know, but we're doing the sports thing with the net.
Just now I'm just, like, imagining, like, the sheep with, like, the OBGYN, like, with scrubs on, be like, okay, you're
I can't actually do anything.
You're 2 centimeters dilated, the baby's crowning.
Yeah, tell me if me gnawing on your pubes because, like, it's grass is bothering you.
That's upsetting. Although, because they didn't have, like, Brazilian wax back then, so Mary was probably pretty hairy. Why are we speculating on the genitalia of the Virgin Mary? Oh my God!
Well, that's more than Jesus did.
Pretty much. So this was trying to bring to you an understanding of the spirit of Christmas, but you've corrupted me.
No, this is trying to make me understand marionettes. I mean, like, I already understand marionettes. I was born in the UK in the 80s. I'm very familiar with Jerry Anderson. Jerry Anderson is much better than this. Thunderbirds, Captain fucking Scarlet, Stingray, Terrahawk, Supercar,
Marionettes creep me
Joe
out.
90.
Creep.
He also invented Space Precinct, though that was not, and UFO, but that was not live act. That was live action, so much less.
I remember where we were when we heard that he died. We were in the charcoal pit.
Yeah, I was really upset.
That's a restaurant. It's a restaurant. Actually, it's on I-95 in Wilmington. Check it out. They are the inventor of the Quarter Pounder.
Yeah, in Delaware.
Verified, and the food's really good too. And they have ice cream sundaes, like, named after each of the schools in the region, just totally.
And they have
the charcoal pit, just check it the fuck out, because the food's amazing.
And they have really nice jukebox stuff. But yeah, we were there, and I was, like, really devastated because basically, Jerry Anderson from my generation, he's like a cross between Gene Roddenberry and Mr. Rogers, sort of. Or Jim Henson and Gene Roddenberry.
Oh, Jim Henson. Do you know that after we did the last Christmas thing, I had to go and watch the beginning of Muppets Christmas Carol on YouTube? Michael Caine. But anyway.
I don't have any cocaine.
What did you think about... I know that joke too. So what did you think about The Spirit of Christmas, brought to you by Bell Telephone and the Mabel Beaton Marionettes?
I think it was much less entertaining than the John Pertwee Story of Santa Claus film.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's right. Doesn't he cross-dress or something in that?
No. That's one of the few things John Pertwee did not cross-dress. Basically, he's a psychiatrist talking to this guy who thinks he's Santa Claus, and he gives the history. It's used as a framing device to give the history of Santa Claus and how he's evolved over the years. And he's got mental problems because he started off as old Saint Nick, Saint Nicholas of Turkey. He started off as Father Christmas. All these different characters, Sinterklaas, and how they all merged into one. And it's given him psychosis because he's like got multiple personalities. And so Pertwee's like, okay, and then he discovers it actually is Santa Claus. It's a interesting little semi-documentary about the history of the character.
I kind of want to see that, what we talked about last time, that Glenn Beck Santa Claus the Viking. I'm kind of...
Yeah, that's not...
Glenn Beck, stop crying in public. Get on this one.
Yeah, you made a trailer. I thought you were making the film.
I don't know. I think that, like, he identifies with Scrooge because he's been having these, like, moments of lucidity Glenn Beck has, where he's like, actually, you know what? I agree with this liberal idea because things and stuff. Well, I'm still a horrible person, by the way, but he's been having, like, these, like, peaks and troughs of, like, decent personness. Maybe he has his own redemption arc.
Maybe.
I don't know, he cries in public.
We're about to run out of thing.
We are. So, that's been The Spirit of Christmas, brought to you by Bell Telephone and the Mabel Beaton Marionettes, a Philadelphia classic, as seen on WHYY.
Brought to you by Omega and Hagan.
Ta-da! So we'll see you tomorrow because we're actually filming these in advance, but they will be released as the 12 Days of Christmas. So what will we do next? It'll probably be Rankin Bass. Just, you know.
Oh
no. Merry fucking Christmas. Davis Arini shot. Here we go. Okay.
Not enough skulls.